Hello everybody, welcome to my guide to creating your first character on the Legends of Ultima server within Legends of Aria. In case you're unfamiliar with the server, this is a community server run by a team of developers who are sticking with LOA's original promise of making a great new Ultima Online experience. As the main servers have greatly deviated from that goal, LOU has dove straight in with great success. So what sets this server apart from the other servers, you may ask? So many different things. So I will simply list a few of the major changes made in LOU that might best display what the devs are hoping to achieve. Perhaps the main difference is the level of danger created by allowing murderers and thieves within the server, but I'll get into that part later. The skills and stats are that of Ultima Online. So as of right now, there are 47 skills with a cap of 700 points instead of 600 on the main servers, and a stat cap of 225 for your strength, dex, intellect. Within these skills, we have the four main musicianship abilities of UO, one being, well, musicianship, and then we've got provocation, peacemaking, discordance, all very useful. We've got the proper hiding and stealth mechanics. So when you hide and you just move a little bit, you immediately go into stealth. And there's no limitations once you're GM. You continue to walk unless you are seen by either a gazer or someone's reveal spell or detect hidden. The aforementioned stealing skill and also snooping are in here. And even the lesser used skills like taste identification and spirit speak. Begging's even useful in this. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the UO of old, I would greatly suggest looking up the mechanics of classic UO and pre-Age of Shadows gameplay. It may look funny to the untrained eye, but it's a rabbit hole that may change your life. Perhaps the greatest change of all will be happening within the next couple of months. They are completely changing the map. Completely changing it over to the Ultima Online map of old, as well as giving us the old UO housing. So all the old houses are back. Well, they will be in the next coming months. So including, at some point, necromancy. So that will be there as well. So it's not just classic UO and pre-Age of Shadows. They do pick different parts of UO that they thought were best. So that's all there. But without further ado, these are my 5 tips for anyone starting a character on LOU. If you like my tips, please leave a like, subscribe, and follow me on Twitch and Twitter. I stream every Monday, Wednesday, Friday mornings, Eastern, from 9 to around 5:30. Coming in at number 1, create your character, of course. Laggy. Yes? I need a character that's going to make me enough money to get me a plot of land and a nice big house. What do I make? Well, that's a great question, and the answer is fairly simple. I always recommend to any new player to make a simple fighter to start out with. You could make a crafter and sell your goods that way, but you don't own any land to set up a vendor, so you'd have to go around town yelling about your goods. That's not terribly effective. But making a fighter will cost you the least amount of gold and provide a great means of building up enough funds to do that. I generally suggest waiting on a mage class until you get the funds to support the amount of reagents needed to build up your magery. Now, you'll also get a lot of these regs by killing monsters, so make sure you save them up if you intend to make an ult. After you decide what your character's name and fashion sense are, you'll be given the option to use a few templates to start or make your own custom template. I always start out with custom to make sure I get the skills I want and to set them at the correct levels right out of the gate. But what skills are needed in order to be a fighter, you may ask? The main 4 are the weapon skills of your choice, either swords, fencing, or macing. Then there's tactics, anatomy, and healing. Given that we have a 700 skill point pool, where each skill can only go up to 100, That will bring us to 400 at GM, right? At Grandmaster. Which leaves us 3 more skills to be flexible with. If you're looking for survivability, I would suggest picking resisting spells and parrying, and we can talk about the 7th skill later. When customizing your character, you're given a free set of 120 skill points to disperse as you wish among 4 starting skills. You can only start any skill at 50. That's the cap, which we'll do for 2 of those. And then we'll set the 2 others at 10. So when picking those 50-point skills, we need to be as efficient as possible, as some are much easier to gain than others. For instance, the 3 fighting skills, so your weapon, anatomy, and tactics, are all super easy to gain. However, healing requires a material, i.e. bandages, and those can only be crafted or purchased. And the skill itself takes a considerable amount of time to level. So we will start there with our first 50-point skill. That leaves us with parrying resisting spells and our 7th flex skill. Just like the other fighting skills, parrying is a breeze. Just let creatures hit you, that's all. Get a bunch of them, run around, let them hit you. You'll gain your healing as well. Resisting spells, however, requires spells to be cast on you. So the easiest way to do that is to have someone cast spells on you. That costs a lot of money, and you need a friend. I'm working off the assumption that you don't know anyone on the server just yet. Well, besides your friendly neighborhood laggy, of course. So let's just cut a lot of time and save a lot of health by placing your resisting spells at 50 right away. It'll grow passively, and it'll just save you more health as you go along. So we've got 100 out of the 120 skills taken up. We have 2 that we can raise up to 10. Anything picked here will determine some of our starting gear. So I will choose mace fighting to get a mace, and parrying to get a shield. So we're set. Healing will give us bandages. Mace fighting and parrying, that should give us a set of armor and the mace and shield. With your 7th skill, you can be a little crafty with it. If you're concerned about people murdering you, it might be good to get hiding. If you want to pick the locks of treasure chests deep within the dungeons you explore, grab lockpicking. It's worth noting, however, that only player-run tinkerers can craft lockpicks. So you'll need to find a good vendor to sell those, but that is money you should be able to earn back, and then some, with the chest that you pick. It's worth mentioning other skills that are not only easy to level, but also very hard and time-consuming, so when it comes time to make an alt, you know which ones to set to 50. If you want to be a crafter, it's a good standard to set the craft itself up to 50 and not the harvesting skill, as that should go up very fast. So if you want to be a smithy and a fletcher, then set those to 50. Leave your mining and lumberjacking low, as those will gain much faster and cost far less materials. Each of the musicianship skills level pretty fast and can be macroed while AFK. The only resource needed are the instruments used to play your sick tunes. These do cost a good chunk of change, however, but they pair up well with a fighter, a mage, or even a tamer. Speaking of taming, this skill sounds amazing, and it is amazing, but it's probably the longest road to GM. If you are to do a tamer, my suggestion would be to macro your tracking skill up to 100 so that it's much easier to find the mobs you're looking for. Also, having a high level of peacemaking will make your life so much easier. You can always get rid of these later if you want to change your build. Just drop them down to 0. There's also some debate over the efficiency of keeping your animal lore just below your taming skill to give you the most amount of fails per mob. The more you fail, the more you can try to tame, giving you the most gains per mob possible. That way you're not running around looking for more and all of that. If you macro your animal lore up to GM right away, you can typically tame things 5 skill points higher than you would have been able to, than your animal taming would have normally allowed. So if you were a 50 taming with GM animal lore, you could tame at a 55 level monster, that kind of thing. So it's up to you though. If you want to fail on higher level mobs, GM your animal taming, or fail on lower level mobs, bring your animal taming back a bit. Finally, we have Magery. Okay, the thing about this is it really isn't that tough to level up. It just costs a bunch of cash. It does come with some great perks, however. It's definitely worth making a mage as your second character, as it will be able to mark runes for you and recall around the world. Huge help, huge help. Once you've got that in place, you'll be provided the option to change your stats. But what do these do? So strength will determine your hit points, carrying capacity, and melee damage. Dexterity will increase your stamina, your swing speed, and how quickly you bandage yourself and others. Intelligence provides you more mana as well as stronger, sometimes more potent spells. As a fighter, our focus will be on strength and dex. These will go up very fast, so it's not too much of a concern as to how we start, but we are provided an 80-point pool, so let's capitalize on it. Typically, I max out strength to give me the highest hit points I can get, but that will slow down my swing speed. A slower swing speed also slows down how fast those skills will gain initially. It might be good practice to dip a little bit extra into dex, but make sure you leave your intelligence at 10. Our goal is to get our strength and dexterity at 100, and our intelligence to 25. So it might be good to start with maybe 50 strength, 20 dexterity, and 10 intelligence. But once you get your intelligence to 25, you can go into your character sheet and lock that, as to never have to worry about it again. So it is good to have your 25 worth of intelligence at the end, as you will be wanting to recall around the world. So it's good to lock it in there. That'll give you a couple recalls before your mana's out. After managing your skills, there will be a list of 7 starting locations. Beneath the city of Britain lies the sewers, which is a newbie safe dungeon, so I would suggest you just head right over there. It currently contains 4 levels that only young players can go into. This is a great safe place to train up before heading into the dangerous overworld. Ooh. The young status is worth mentioning at this point, as if you're interested in spending a lot of time in the sewers, you'll need to manage your skills and time well. So this status will protect you from people murdering you, stealing from your pockets, and having your inventory drop upon death. So that way, when you die, and you just have to run back to your body, you resurrect with all your stuff on you still. Much easier. It'll only last until your total skill point pool reaches either 350 or one of those skills gets to 80 or above. So skills can be locked at 79.9 to make sure you don't surpass that limit on any individual skill, but keep in mind the 350 total. So you still can pass it that way. You can set your skills to be tracked on your hub on the right side. With their respective skill book page on the top right corner, you can click it to do that as well. So that way you can watch it as you level up. If you're interested in getting your skills up as soon as you can, for 300 gold pieces each, you can purchase skill books from the skill trainer Fairfax in any town. It's the same guy everywhere. I don't know what the deal is with that. Kind of weird. This will get you to a total of 250 if you do that, for each of the 5 skills that are below 30. It'll bring them all up to 30. Each character will start with 3,500 gold. This allows players to purchase those skills, and any other necessities needed to start your adventure, bandages and such. New armor. You'll get more gold, a lot more gold, so don't worry about blowing this, it's fine. And now, I think you're ready to go. Number 2. Where to go from here? Now that you're skilled up and armed, you're ready to fend off some sewer rats. Creatures down here will drop NPE tokens that you can use to restock on some of your basic gear. The NPE vendor at the entrance of the sewers won't have bandages, however, so you'll have to find either a tailor or a weaver for those. I believe in Brit it is a weaver. Also, while you're in a dungeon, your skills will gain faster, so it's worth being in a dungeon as much as possible, as long as you can survive it. If you find it too difficult, perhaps it may be best to stay above ground killing mobs. It tends to be easier to get away in a pinch. There's not so many hallways and doors and things blocking you or leading you into more mobs. But always feel free to ask in general chat if you need help finding a good place to go or join a guild that's very newbie friendly. There's a lot of great people on this server. So at this point I was originally going to show you the footage of each level within the sewers, but I feel that would ruin some of the discovery aspect of the game. I will say, just before any ladder leading to the next floor, there will be a boss you can fight, who respawns pretty quickly. Now, these are good mashing targets, but always be careful of respawn around you and behind you. As you destroy boss after boss and delve deeper into the sewers, it's naturally going to get harder. I believe it was the 3rd floor that creatures started to poison me. It might have been the 2nd floor, but don't come at me all PO'd because it was earlier than I said. Just be ready for it. According to the LOU wiki, your bandages can cure poisons once your healing and your anatomy are both at 60. To my recollection, it was occasionally curing my poisons without having 60 healing. It was happening before that. I may be wrong, but maybe there's something to do with anatomy being much higher. It kind of balances out. I'm not 100% sure. But keep that in mind. Your bandages can cure your poisons. You can also get cure potions from the NPE vendor. Once your young status has been lifted and you can no longer stay within the sewer, you now have the rest of the world to explore. A whole new world. Oh wait, that's in a couple of months. A new fantastic point of view. That's in a couple of months. But where should you go? Well. There are 6 other dungeons for you to discover and more to come. So there's the Dungeon Ruin, Corruption, Deception, and Contempt. So these are all reimaginings of the normal LOA dungeons. However, Dungeon Covetous and Destard are 2 brand new dungeons duplicated from Ultima Online, with some new wonderful additions. But don't think you're limited to just going to dungeons. They're just great places to level up. The world is filled with places to discover and beasts to kill. I won't ruin the fun of discovery for you, but get yourself out there. Okay, Laggy, I'm out there. But I don't see any of these dungeons you speak of. How am I supposed to find them? Alright. Lucky for you, people have made libraries full of runes that will teleport you to these locations. All you need to bring are either reagents for the recall spell, or a physical recall scroll to place within the rune book. If you simply have a scroll, drag and drop it on top of the book, and it will fill a charge within the book. From here, you click the diamond to the left of the name you'd like to go to, and on the bottom left, click Recall Charges. Once again, I could show you the locations of each of these that I know of, but I want you to go out, make friends, and find some of these with them. They might even help mark runes for you, so you can visit them at your leisure. While we're talking recalls, it might be worth purchasing a base 30 in Magery to have throughout your leveling process. This will give you enough to be able to cast recall most of the time. Regs are easier to come by than scrolls, so it'd be easier to have just 5 of each of them on you at all times. So it'd be Mandrake Root, Black Pearl, and Blood Moss. So now that you're out there, discovering what this land has to offer, what should you expect? Coming in at number 3! What to watch out for? One of the main reasons why anyone who has played UO firmly states that it was the best MMO ever is the fact that you can negatively impact other players and not just join them in their quest. Now, in most MMOs, you can arbitrarily kill them, only postponing their leveling by a little by forcing them to run back to their bodies, where all their stuff just remains there as they resurrect, as if they're all young players, right? Not here. No. People can murder you, then steal your wallet, murder you, then steal your wallet, then resurrect you just to do it again. It's important to know that not everyone out there can be trusted. Some may just be spies calling their red friends to hunt you. I don't want to scare you, but just want to inform you of the importance of going back to town rather frequently to make sure no one gets your hard-earned loot. Okay, so you're back to town. No one can get it then, right? Nope, until you get something into your bank. Your wallet is fair game, and just to be clear, by wallet, I mean anything under 10 pounds in your inventory that isn't blessed. Stealth thieves have been known to show up at local watering holes from time to time. They have the ability to walk in the shadows, snoop into your inventory, and pick the ripest of fruits to steal. Note: this is why getting a house ASAP is good. Not 100% secure, but 99% in the right hands. This is a concept that I feel many people don't grasp. UO was the only full loot game that I knew of, until I guess maybe Albion Online came out. Haven't really played it that much, but I hear it's got full loot mechanics. I understand that there are others, but they were never popular enough for me to know of them. It's important to know how these mechanics work. Murderers, or Reds, as is their color of their name, for instance, can walk into town without being guard-whacked. But if someone attacks them, they have the right to defend themselves. If they initiate within protected lands, yes, they can be whacked. However, if you step just outside a protection, they can just start shooting the living hell out of you. Thieves, on the other hand, work off a different mechanic. They can take what they want and not turn red. Instead, their names turn a temporary gray color, a criminal, which allows the victim time to either attack them without any penalty or type guards and hope the local authority assists in dishing out justice. Make sure you're quick about it though, because once hidden, the guards can't find them. There are ways to defend yourself against them, as we will speak of in the next section, but a few helpful skills to find your thief are Detect Hidden, the Reveal spell, and Tracking. To sum up, when you're out in the world, make sure you watch your six. Stay mounted, and if you know how to fight, then do so. Otherwise, try and run and lose them or recall away. When in town and looking for, say, the bank or visiting other establishments within the city, it's good to throw a few reveals or detect hiddens if you have anything of value on your person. Number 4. Custom commands. So this will lead us into an important topic. Setting up custom commands. So we spoke before about going to the bank and making sure you're not being pickpocketed, right? So we need a way to help secure ourselves in case something happens. As a reminder, while in a guarded zone, if someone steals your prized sword and tries to run away, you will notice their name turn gray. As long as they have not hidden yet, you can type in guards and they'll be whacked instantly. Now it takes time to type in guards, especially when you're in the moment, you're panicking, and you hit the wrong button, right? But all it takes is a quick hit of a button if you just set up a custom command that yells it out. You could have one button also that does multiple things. So if you don't want your toolbar to be filled with all these different commands, you can set up one that does multiples. For instance, guards, space, bank, space, stable, right? Then whenever you're near a bank, it'll open. When you're near the stable, you can stable your pet. And when someone in the guild lag runs away, a little bit gray as a criminal, you can whack them. You can tell in my video, told you how to do it. These custom buttons have other uses as well. If you have a tamed pet on you, you can use commands such as all kill, or all follow me, or all guard me. There's an all stay, but it's not working right now. They're trying to fix it. Or you can have one if you're near the stable master. You can have one that has claim to see your list of pets that you've got stabled. But let's think of something else, right? What happens if you're in your house and there's somebody else in there and you don't want them to be in there. You can say, I ban thee. And they'll be, well, you have to click on them first, of course, but then they'll be permanently ejected from the premises. So you can have that macroed to do it really quick, and you click on them real fast. Now I'm sure I'm missing some of the old UO commands, but I'm sure if you just Google old UO commands, chances are they'll work here. In order to get these to work, you must type /custom. Then you pick whichever icon you wish, and at the bottom, just enter say guards. As the notation indicates, you don't need to include the / for that command, as it enters that as part of the button. So in conjunction with these /custom commands, you can actually get a list of other commands by typing / commands. Easy enough, right? There's a ton of stuff here. All sorts of things that you can also add to your custom buttons. There's everything from usable skills in your skill book, so anatomy, animal lore, things that you can click on and then target something, to mowing your lawn, right? That you can mow your lawn, that's awesome. There are options to turn off certain portions of the hub. You can set a specific mount to set commands for mounting and dismounting that horse. Instead of double-clicking the horse and then double-clicking yourself, mount and dismount, you can just have buttons to do that on a specific mount. You know, that's awesome. It's totally worth going through this once you're more comfortable with the game and you know what these options are really used for. And now that we know how to protect ourselves within town, we are ready for tip number 5. Macroing with LOU helper. Most servers in any game do not allow for AFK macroing or macroing really of any kind. The devs of LOU are fully aware that people don't have time to sit there and grind every skill for an infinite amount of time. So they have built a macroing system called LOU helper that, although may not be the most intuitive macroing program, once you learn it, can be a huge help. Now, there's a few things to kind of keep an eye out for. One, you gotta right-click on the executable file and run as administrator. There's some problems if you just double-click it, and then sometimes ends up crashing and such. What's also helpful is to know when the next time the server is going to shut down. So it's /next restart. So this will give us the server's been online for 4 hours, 11 minutes and 5 seconds. So they do it every 6 hours. So it says right here, server reboots every 6 hours. So you have less than 2 hours of macroing AFK. Then once it happens, you can come back and reset it up once the server's back. So how does this whole thing work, Laggy? Well, in my experience, the standardized macroing settings that they have here are somewhat difficult to get moving. Hiding worked, but something it doesn't indicate is that in order to stealth, you actually need to go into your settings, over to mouse, and turn WASD movement on if you want to actually stealth. Because it's actually looking for the A button and the D button to move you those steps. So what I end up doing is I start making a bunch of customs to kind of do whatever I want to do. So let's say we're interested in doing animal lore, right? We're going to do it to this cute little pony over here. So I've already got some of these set up, so I'm going to take these off. And a good thing to keep in mind is if anything out of all of these are checked, it's going to run through the whole list. So you can have a whole ton of things actually macroed, but it also could interfere with what you're doing later. So I was looking for commands. So that was the commands menu. I was trying to find that next restart, but I had to ask World Chat. So awesome resource right there. So I've got to use animal lore. My animal lore is right here. It is button F2. So I'm going to use custom skill hotkey F2. And then this will be my targeting method right here. There's two ways to target. One of them is to set a physical location on your screen, saved that coordinate to macro. Now the problem with doing that is the fact that that pony just moved, right? And our point is still set there. So to counteract that, you would drag it up and you would actually set the nameplate instead. Now, even if you move your screen or the pony moves around, it's always going to be in the same location. And if you lose the pony, you can just drag the turkey up there and it'll click on the turkey. Very easy. Method number 2 is to not click that, but go and do the second custom here and do custom. First we need to target it. So we need, okay, there we go. Now we'll see our last target button. Mine is R. That's what I've set it at. Skill hotkey R. We go down here to last. Let's turn off our delay. Let's start this up and see if it works. Which creature would you... Oh, it's trying to tame. That's a curiosity. Which is our 1 button. So somewhere along the line, I have 1, which is right here, listed. Here we go. That's the problem. I was on my stealther before. Let's try that again. We'll start it up. What would you like to study? There it is. Now this skill doesn't have so much of a delay, right? You can kind of spam this skill out. So let's stop that. An easy button is F4 to stop, is the general stop button. But if you needed to like bandage yourself, within post delay, you would do 10,000 milliseconds, so that's 10 seconds. Generally a bandage, unless your dex is higher, is around... That could be even 11 seconds, honestly. You'll have to time it out and figure out how many seconds. If you're healing somebody else, that goes down dramatically. So those are the two ways of targeting. So if you have the option to do last target, this I find is pretty easy because no matter where it goes, it'll find it. Also, if the nameplate somehow disappears, it's still looking for it. You can kind of fine-tune this with most of your skills. If you're in town, a good thing to do is to macro the term guards, right? So I've already got one set here for F3, is our guards. So do F3. Now, I don't have this clicked anymore, so we're going to set that back. There's a delay from a previous skill, so let's start it up. And this is going to be in the way. Guards. Another guards. So if anyone's trying to steal from you, they're going to get whacked. And you can put a custom guards in between every action if you want to. If you've got a list of 20 actions and you want to put guards in between each one of them, you can. If you're in town. So let's examine what I was talking about with doing some veterinary. A little bit more complicated setup for a macro. So what I'm going to do is have these two ponies fight each other, and I'm going to bandage every 5 seconds, each one. So every 10 seconds, the same one will get bandaged. And in between that, I'm going to call the guards. So let's start with custom number 1. Will be hotkey number 2, that's my bandage. Down here I can target, set target 2A. And my custom 2 is going to be my guard call, right? That was F3. And I can blank that out. Custom 3 is going to be bandage again. Set coordinate. This is going to be for B. And custom 4, once again, will be guards. Now something I have to take a note of, I didn't do any delays in my post delays. Bad idea. So we got to fill those in, or else it's not going to heal properly. Because you're going to heal someone and immediately try then to heal the next one, and it's not going to work out. You're just going to keep not bandaging either of them, and it's going to ruin it. But fine-tune this. It takes a little bit to figure out the amount of time each one of them needs. All right, so let's start that up. Oh, you know what we got to do? First, we got to have them start attacking each other, right? And then let's start the macro. Who to apply bandages to? The mouse immediately goes there. We'll see on the next one. It calls guards, applies bandages right there. The mouse warps over to it. So one of the things is it's very difficult to actually use your computer while this is going on, because your mouse is going to be bouncing back and forth. You're going to screw up the macro. This is truly a bunch of AFK macroing, and you need a whole lot of bandages on you while you do something like this. But this is just an idea of how to set up a somewhat longer macro. And keep in mind, this will work for your musicianship. I mean, this will work for most of your skills. So let's do a little musicianship, shall we? So for my peacemaking, I've got that set to number 3. We're going to target this turkey here. This turkey hasn't gotten much action yet. So I've already done the ponies, so my first macro is set to target that location. So now I can simply just change that to a 3, and that first location is already there for me. Now, the only thing is this post delay, I believe, needs to go to 10 seconds. And there's another turkey down here, which I can supplement for that. I'll move so I'm in between both of them. So I still got my guards. I've got my button 3, my target location already set. I've got my guards called. These are not checked, so these will not occur. My next button, this is once again my peacemaking. I need to raise this to 10. You know what, let's do 8 and just see what happens. We'll just test it out. And guards again, so let's give that a play. You calm that turkey. And we're going to call guards after 10 seconds, so you'll know when that's up. See, in this case, I would like to call guards earlier. So I calm that turkey. Now this is going to be an 8-second delay. So more than likely this isn't going to work out on the next. Already calming that. Okay, I stand corrected. So this is how you figure out the timing, right? The 8 seconds work just fine, but you can't calm the same thing multiple times. So we know 8 works. Let's go to 6 for this one. And 7 for this one. If neither of these work, well, I shouldn't say that. Let's do them both at 6, just for experiments. And then we'll do both at 7, and we know 8 works. Calm that turkey. In 6 seconds, we'll calm the next turkey. Well, probably not. See, you must wait a few moments to use another skill. So 6 seconds is not our sweet spot. So we'll, just for kicks, we'll try 7. Already calming that, but we can find out if well, this might. The guards. That only worked because the previous one didn't go through. So it didn't complete the peacemaking. Now we'll find out. Must wait a few moments to use another skill. Right there. So it might actually be 8 seconds. But I really hope this is helpful, guys. If there's anything you find unclear or need more help with, feel free to leave a comment below or come find me on Twitch. Even if I'm playing something else, I'm always happy to talk LOU with you. They also have a great Discord server set up to help those in need, and there's even a spot for macroing to get you through any other more complicated or more difficult macroing needs. Once again, thank you for watching. Please leave a like, subscribe, and follow all of my various platforms. Farewell.